As a creative person, you've already got a lot going on. All of us have personal circumstances and things on our mind. There's the goals that we set for ourselves, the striving to improve and get better, and any number of the doubts and discouragements that can hold us back. That's all before you incorporate the monster of the week, as it were, whether that's studio mergers and closures, AI art, problems with social media algorithms not serving your stuff up correctly. It's enough to legitimately knock us off track if we aren't careful. So let's figure out a couple of ways to fix that. I have multiple solutions to this problem, but also solutions that solve multiple problems. So I hope any of that makes sense. Hey, it's been a minute since we took a step into the artistic mindset, which is a series of videos on this channel where we understand quite well that a healthy mind is a creative and productive one. My own last few weeks and months have been a little up and down, so I thought today we could just sit down in a little bit more of a straightforward conversational format and we can set out to sea. Let's talk about the waves. So while I'm mentioning things like studio mergers and closures, which are really unfortunate and affect specific people in a very real way, this video is less about helping those specific people and more so about the way that hearing about those things happening can affect us. And that might seem a little bit backwards, but I'm aiming to help the most amount of artists, no matter their circumstances. So like I said, there's plenty of things that we each go through, seasons of difficulty, bad news, maybe creative block or burnout, maybe just straight up being too busy, which usually leads to that burnout eventually. All of those things are waves of the ocean. Imagine yourself in your little boat getting rocked and moved by these things affecting you. And maybe it's just because of the amount of attention I'm paying to it, but there's been a few things in the last few years, especially, that start to make it feel like it's harder for artists to just exist, let alone succeed. There was all the crypto stuff last year. There's things like the Discovery-Warner merger deleting animated programs that were already made from their service as a tax write-off, which in turn makes it so the people that worked on those things can't get residuals anymore. Then you have AI art, which I'll give you my 30-second opinion on this one time and then hopefully never talk about it again. All right, 30-ish seconds on the clock. You can argue as much as you want that this is great and advanced and the implications are limitless and that I'm being too curmudgeonly about it. But from what I understand, the AI art programs have been built and funded by people who actively hate that artists have the ability to make what they do and receive credit for it. And that the thing that's feeding the machine learning is literally just existing art that artists have already made. So the outcome is at best an amalgam, and one that's sometimes trained to specifically copy individuals who are still living. So not only do you have people unwittingly and uncompensated having their work eaten by a machine to regurgitate it, but you've also otherwise removed the ergonomics, the human element of making something. So all it's going to lead to is business people thinking that they don't need to pay for work, even though it's just work based on existing work, and then more tech bro people completely missing the point and thinking that they themselves are artists because they typed in the right keywords. I've seen the quote-unquote graphic novels that people have made using AI. They look, words that I don't use on this channel, truly awful and terrible. And to me, there's a distinct difference between using technology as an extension of a human's ability, and then there's also completely removing humans from the process altogether. I rarely get this firm and indignant over something. I'll wrap it up with the Miyazaki quote that he said when talking about AI, "I strongly feel that this is an insult to life itself." That was 30 seconds, right? So just having to have words like that sloshing around in my head or in the back of it, multiplied by all the other things we're talking about, it's a lot of waves, things that push us around and rock us and sometimes potentially take us off course. It makes creating things harder because you're not only involved in making things, you feel like you're fighting with considerations and external things and what other people think. How do you stop a boat from getting shoved or from drifting away? Well, you use an anchor. And for my first solution to this headspace, the anchor is relatively simple. It's projects. So in a lot of situations, it's kind of selfish or frowned upon to get too self-indulgent, but for a creative person, projects of any kind are a solution to the constantly changing external circumstances or whatever hot button issue or trend there is. Projects can be as big or as small as you'd like them to be too. It could be as ambitious as creating an animated series, I'll tell you a bit more about the project that I'm working on a little later. Or it could be as simple as designing a couple of characters under a central conceit or offhand idea that you had. It could be a goal to sketch or make something every day for a week or a month. The idea is that you're nurturing and building off of the things that are important to you to create, not in reaction to what other people want, or worse, what you think other people want. Because not only is that not authentic to you, it's constantly changing. That's why I think that projectlessness is aimlessness. I've talked plenty before about the dangers of how social media and audience building can easily stifle or even kill your creativity and motivation, because it then becomes a numbers game, a rat race, all based off of making what you think other people will like, that the most people will like, all at the expense of your own projects, or it would be most creatively fulfilling for you. Now, it is possible that this is a little more natural for some of us than others. I know that for me growing up, having that sketchbook with me at all times, or constantly getting lost in that rich inner life or imagination, was a stabilizing aid when things outside were less certain. Now, the great thing is that your goals with projects can be whatever you'd like. You can use them as a guidepost as you work to improve, especially if your project is practice or study-based. But the nice side effect is if you're making something that you enjoy making, chances are that as a side effect, not as your main motivation, other people will end up enjoying it too. And it's so much more fulfilling than engineering something to be popular, because what you're getting is that connection and understanding over something that means a lot to you. For me, with an ADHD mind, it's taken forever for me to finally focus down and work on only one project at a time. And that project, as it has been for a while now, is Stormfellers, which is an animated pilot I've created mostly myself. It's taken longer than expected, but I'm very much looking forward to sharing it with you. And what I'm likely going to be doing over the next little while is prime folks for the release with a Let's Make an Animated Pilot series of videos walking through the production process. So I can't wait to share more with you. There's some really cool tie-in things coming. The voice actors involved, ooh, it's all very cool. I appreciate everyone's patience. It's such a massive project beyond what I thought it was at first, but I think it'll be worth it. I'm also looking forward even to that video series, because for the first time in a long time, I'll be back to sharing what I'm already doing as part of my creative practice in videos and not making something separate for them. Okay, so something else beyond just projects is to lower your center of gravity. Make it harder to be knocked over by the waves that we're talking about. Maybe that's as simple as being less clued in to trends and potential anxieties, and maybe it's as complex as reducing the amount of fear that you have of other people's judgment. And that can be easier said than done. But speaking from some personal experience, creativity is a much more stressful process with a worse final product when you're consumed with what other people will think. So maybe the algorithm is just an easy thing to blame when engagement goes down. Maybe, probably it is, in fact, getting worse. Maybe all the worst possible outcomes will happen with whatever industry-shattering thing is getting bandied about today. But probably not. And I can't believe I'm saying this because it's the thing that I get caught up on the most, and it makes me angry when other people say it to me. But sometimes something really is only as powerful as you give it the power to be. Before you go, my wife Tay just sent out a big survey to all the students of Learn Character Design, our course. We have some new tools for you to help complete the course, and we want to get your thoughts on it. And there's also something that we have an idea for those who have completed the course, something that you get in return. So make sure to check your email from a few days ago. Also, if you're headed to Lightbox Expo in October, I'll be there sharing a table with Ergo Josh at table 613. So we'll have some exciting things there. Come say hello. The new Biko's backpack for September has something we haven't had in a while, a Stormfellers character. Ophelius, the guild quest frog, distributes quests to feller parties and is an all-around boisterous little guy. That, along with an Avic hard enamel pin, is available on patreon.com/bageldenizen. Thank you for watching, have fun creating, and if you want more artistic mindset help, then you need to check out the videos in this playlist here.